It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so
women.
Absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity.
All right, that was Vice President Kamala Harris. She made those comments at the Democratic National Committee's Women's Leadership Forum Friday, sparking controversy by saying that hurricane relief should be divvied up based on equity, not based on who needs the relief the most.
Yeah, for more on this, let's bring in the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina and author of We Are the Majority, The Life and Passions of a Patriot, Mark Robinson. Sir, welcome back to Wake Up America. All right, I want to get your take on what do you think Vice President Harris meant when she said that we need equity in hurricane relief?
Well, here it is. Let's just go ahead and call this what this is. This is another ridiculous notion. And you see these ridiculous notions that these leftists have, they translate directly into the bad policies that we see that are destroying institutions and cities and states and, quite frankly, this entire nation. When you put these things into practice, we see the dreadful effects of them. You know, she has the nerve to say that this hurricane affects the lowest income people. And of course, we know that's true. But let's talk about what else affects the lowest incomes. An open border affects the lowest income folks because those drug dealers are going to go into those communities. Defunding the police affects the lowest income communities because that's where the crime is happening and needs to be stifled. Again, her ideology, her way of thinking, it is what is bringing communities and this nation to its knees right now. And we just simply got to push back against it.
Yeah, what's interesting is that as of right now, Joe Biden's running again in 2024. But now there are calls for, if Joe Biden does run again, dump Kamala Harris from the ticket. This is Bill Maher. And he said this on his own show, and then he doubled down again last night, basically saying that they should get rid of Kamala Harris if Joe Biden does run again. Take a listen.
Kamala Harris is not popular at all is a real detriment for the Democrats. Now, it's not unheard of for presidents to switch their VP choice after one term. It's been done before, and he could choose somebody else. And I like Kamala Harris, but for some reason, she has not turned out to be a very good politician, and I don't know if she can reverse sometimes a reputation just takes on a life of its own.
How do you think this plays out? And it is sort of unusual. It hasn't happened in almost 50 years that a sitting president has dumped his vice president. What do you make of that? Could that happen?
Absolutely. I think it could happen. The Democrats will do anything that they can in order to retain power or try to retain power. The only reason, we all know the only reason why he chose her was for optics anyway. It certainly was not for her talents or abilities, of which she has absolutely seemingly none for this position. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility at all for him to do that to try to retain power.
Sir, I want to talk to you about the book that you wrote. You basically, called We Are the Majority. Who is the majority?
The majority is the hardworking Americans who get up every day, go to work, play by the rules, try to get it right, care about their families, want good health care, want good public safety, want good education, want good economic opportunity. That's the majority in this country. The majority is not a color. It's not necessarily, it's not a religion. The majority are the people in this country who get up every day and make it happen. And that's the reason why I wrote this book, and that's why I wrote this book for.
Yeah, Americans don't necessarily have to agree with the president's politics. They don't really even have to like a president to put that person in office. But I think the key is they need to think that that leader likes them. Think about it. They gave Richard Nixon a landslide in his second election in 1972. Do you think that silent majority that elected Nixon, those Reagan Democrats, do you think they're going to vote in a big way in 2022, but also in 2024?
Absolutely. I think in 2022, you're going to see a complete repudiation of Democrat policy. Democrat policy in this country has failed. It is absolutely destroying some of our best and brightest states and cities. And people are going to turn out at the polls and push back against it with their votes. And I think that's going to translate also into 2024. People are tired of the road this nation is on, and they want to change. And that I believe that they saw under President Trump what was good, and I believe they want to go back to it. So I think that Republicans are going to definitely see a boom.
Mr. Lieutenant Governor, just about 10 seconds, but would you say, is equity, is this another word for racism? Is that just a new term for racism?
It's a foolish term meant to pull on the heartstrings of people and pull their eyes off the real problems that we face.
Yeah.
We've got to get back to those substantive issues and forget about these foolish terms.
Good point. All right, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, thanks so much for coming back on with us. We appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No crooked establishment.
None of that twisting the
truth.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think.
They let
me decide.
Newsmax.
Real news
For real people.